Welcome to the MediSoul podcast. Now, I'm your host, Holly Janes, and I am the founder of MediSoul Wellness. And this is the space where we explore spirituality, meditation, the paranormal, and everything in between. If you want to learn more about what I do, go to MediSoulWellness.com, which is a school that teaches you how to do the stuff that I talk about. So in this episode, we are going to be talking about spirit guides. And we're going to discuss what they are. Does everybody have them? What type of guides are there? What do they do for you? How do they communicate with you? And so on. So let's begin. First, what is a spirit guide? A spirit guide is a spirit being that acts as a guide for you as you live your life. So think of them as like your invisible friends that are always with you, always around, always helping, and they're always nudging you in the direction that you should be going in. They are not ghosts. They are not attachments. They're not part of your imagination. They are non-physical spiritual beings that are there to support you along your soul's journey. Because you need to remember, you are a soul having a human experience, not a human experiencing soul and spiritual stuff. You are spiritual first, human second. Because when you leave this world, you're going to go back into spirit form. And when you leave this world, you're going to get to meet your spirit guides in a whole different way. So your spirit guides are around you. Now, how does spirit guides work? Does everybody have them? For the most part, yes. Everybody does have spirit guides. I have met a very small amount of people that I have done sessions with who did not have spirit guides. And it's not common. Why it happens, I don't know. I don't know if there's a mix-up from the time the person is born or what the deal is, but I have met a few people that didn't have spirit guides, and I had to give them someone so that they had somebody. But for the most part, most people do have spirit guides, and they are with you since birth. So, okay, there's different types of spirit guides, right? So you have animal spirit guides, you have human spirit guides, and you have non-human spirit guides. So let's talk about what each one of them does so you can kind of figure out how they help you. Animal spirit guides can be animals from this planet, or they could be animals from a different planet or a different dimension. There have been people that I have walked through meditations who have had animal spirit guides that look unlike anything that's on this planet. So clearly they come from a different world or a different dimension. And you could have spirit guides from, animals from this planet. You could have a bear, you could have wolves, you could have cats, you could have pumas, you could have horses, you could have deer. You can have anything, really. You really could. Now, what these spirit guides mean, you could do research and look up what is the meaning of, let's say your spirit guide animal is a deer. You could look up what is the meaning of a deer. And if you look up 2 or 3 different locations, you might get 2 or 3 different meanings to what a deer spirit guide is. So this is not how I recommend you find out what they're there for. And I'll get into how you can connect with them and how you can communicate with them in a minute. But just relying on what other people say might not resonate with you. It might not fit with you. So you want to connect to your spirit guide yourself. And you do this through meditation. But so animal spirit guides, what do? Animal spirit guides can be very simple to talk to. They're easy to talk to in a meditation. So you would get into a meditation and you would go to a scene and then you would call in your animal spirit guide. And whichever animal comes forward, that's the one that you need to focus on. You don't need to look at it and go, oh, that's not what I wanted. It doesn't matter what you wanted. This is what came through, and you're going to treat them with respect because spirit guides need to be treated with respect. So let's say you meditate, close your eyes, and you're like, I want to meet my spirit guide. And what comes forward is a squirrel. Maybe you don't like squirrels. And maybe that's why it's your guide. Because maybe that squirrel is trying to teach you how to get past, maybe you have a fear of them or you just don't like them and they're trying to help you get past it. But animals in the spirit world, they are easier for you to talk to. They're easier to connect with. So when you are first learning how to meditate, you're first learning how to astral project into the spirit world, and you're wanting to connect to your spirit guides, the animal spirit guides are going to come in easier. You're going to be able to see them easier. You're going to be able to talk to them easier. And how they come into your vision could be like a memory. Maybe you see them in your mind. Maybe you just know that that's what they are. You don't see them. You just know that it's a squirrel. Or maybe you see a squirrel. When you're talking to them, they're going to communicate with you telepathically. That's how all communication is done in meditation when you're connecting to the spirit world. You're not really going to hear things with your ears. Some people do. Most people don't. So understand that when you say you're hearing your spirit guide, what you're actually doing is telepathically communicating with them. So your animal spirit guides are easy to connect to because they're animals. Their energy's a little different. So if you have a hard time connecting to your non-human spirit guides, then you could use your animal spirit guides as kind of a translator. So you could talk to the animal spirit guide and have it talk to the non-human spirit guide and then relay the information, because the animal spirit guides are easier to connect to. Now, you will have your spirit guide, your animal spirit guide, most likely since birth. And you'd have more than just one. So if you have a squirrel, you have more than just a squirrel. And they all do different things. So the first time that I learned that I had a spirit guide animal, it was a white wolf when I first met it. And when I met it in a meditation, I love cats. So I wanted a cat of some kind. So when I met the wolf, I was a little disappointed. And I felt bad about that. So I didn't tell anybody about it. And then I went down and had a tarot reading done by this psychic woman. And she said to me, you know you have a white wolf as a spirit guide, which was impressive. So I said, yes, I did, but I wanted a cat. And she got quiet and she looked at me and she goes, you need to respect the white wolf, because white wolves are not common to have as a spirit guide because they're white. So you need to go back in there and talk to your wolf, and you need to treat this being with respect. Now, it wasn't that I was disrespectful. I just wanted a cat. But I ended up with the wolf. So I did. And I told her, I said, you know, every time I meditate and I see this wolf, he's always way ahead of me. And it's like he's walking in front of me and he turns and he looks back at me. And I didn't understand anything about wolves. I didn't know how they worked. I didn't know how they are in packs. So she said, you need to start looking up what wolves do. So I did. Wolves will walk ahead of the pack. So you have the alpha wolf will either walk in the front or in the back. And their whole primary purpose is to keep the pack safe. So when he is in front of me, turning and looking at me, he's basically kind of leading me and you know, doing what they do and trying to keep me safe while I was in the meditation. Over time, I started talking to this wolf, and he really doesn't talk to me. He's very, very quiet. And every now and then we'll get a little conversation, a little telepathic conversation going on, but for the most part, he really doesn't say anything. And as time went on, he stopped walking in front of me and started walking next to me. And now he's with me almost all the time. Sometimes he'll stay behind and stay in my house, and sometimes he goes with me. But they also protect you in the spirit world. There was this day that I met this woman in real life, and she was trying to get me to merge with her and do some kind of a business thing with her that seemed a little shady to me. And I told her, I said, listen, I disagree with what you were doing. I don't want to be a part of it. I don't agree with it. So I'm going to say no. Later that night, I meditated. And my wolf was like all fluffed up and growling out towards my window. So I was meditating in my home, and he was kind of like aiming outside. So I went outside astrally. I astral projected outside while I was in the meditation. And that woman, I don't know if she meant to do this or not, but she was basically coming at me. And she was just kind of wild and just looked crazy and like a witch. And mind you, this is all in meditation. And I stood there and I said, oh, no, absolutely not. You turn around and you go right back to wherever you just came from. Like, go away. But it was the wolf that warned me, there's somebody out there. You need to protect yourself. And if the wolf hadn't done that, I wouldn't have known. Or not at that moment anyway. So now the wolf has a pack. And the pack surrounds the building that I live in to make sure that it stays safe. And so whenever I meditate, I make sure to feed them. I meditate and I give them all steak. I tell them I appreciate what they're doing, and then I go about my meditation. You have spirit guides. You have animal spirit guides. And whatever they are, whatever kind they are, they're there to help you. The other type is human spirit guides. Human spirit guides are people who used to live. They used to live on Earth. They passed away, and now they're on the other side. Now, people love to think when you die, you go to the other side, and it's just easy breezy, cruising along, doing absolutely nothing, hanging out on clouds. No, you still continue learning. And I know you may be sitting there going, you got to be kidding me. But you do. You continue learning on the other side. One of the ways that souls can learn is becoming a spirit guide for a living person. When you have a spirit guide that used to be a human, what happens is they're learning the same lesson you are. So if you are struggling with whatever in your life, think of everything you struggle with. Someone else has that struggle as well. I know it seems like you're the only one in the world that has it, but you're not. And when this person died, if they did not learn and grow from that struggle, then they're going to learn and grow from helping you learn and grow with that struggle. So they will come into your life right when you're supposed to learn this lesson, and they're going to guide you through it. As long as you learn the lesson, that spirit guide will come in, teach you, and leave. Human spirit guides are kind of like a revolving door. They come in, they teach you what they need to teach you, they teach themselves what they need to learn, and then they move on. That doesn't mean that happens with all human spirit guides. Sometimes you have a human spirit guide that's with you for life. Most of the time, it's a revolving door. That is because you're learning, they're learning. What happens when you don't learn the lesson? They stay with you until you learn. I don't normally talk to my human spirit guides because they're always revolving and changing. So I just let them do what they got to do. And occasionally I would talk to them. And there was one day that I did talk to my human spirit guides, and I heard this man go, finally, you're going to listen to me. I've been trying to get a hold of you for 3 years. 3 years. Why were you not listening to me? And I'm like, I'm really sorry. So I said, what's the deal? He said, I'm trying to help you do this thing. I honestly don't remember what it was. And I was like, okay, well, good for you. I'm in the middle of that. And he's like, I know. So I went through whatever the process was. And then when it was finally over, he came to me again. He goes, you learned your lesson. You learned what needed to be learned. I'm moving on now. Thank you. And moved on. I talked to this teacher one time. He was teaching a class, and he was talking about meeting his spirit guide, and he said that the first time he met his spirit guide, he punched him in the face. And he realized, he was like, I don't like you. And they didn't like each other. So, I mean, that can happen. So human spirit guides come and go. If somebody you know has passed away, that does not mean they became your spirit guide. It's not an automatic thing. Sometimes it happens, but not all the time. It depends on what their soul needs to learn and if you are a part of that. If you've got somebody that's around you that is one of your family members, great. I have my grandfather. So, I mean, it happens, but it's not a guarantee. Then you have non-human spirit guides, and that's exactly what it sounds like. Angels, aliens, elementals, all different kinds of beings that are not animals, but they're not human either. They're an array of different types of beings. You have these as well. You have a whole bunch of different spirit guides. It's not just one. You have a whole team of these beings. Now, the most common is angels. So many people have Archangel Michael. I have Archangel Michael. But you have angels. You could have aliens, different types of aliens, not just the grays, but different types. You could also have, let's say, elementals like fairies, gnomes, elves, whatever. You could have any nature spirit. Those beings, they are helping you with nature. Like, for example, if you really like nature and you like plants and you like trees and you like gardening, you probably have quite a few nature spirit guides. Totally normal because, they love nature, you love nature, that's who you have. I work mostly with Michael most of the time. He's the one that's been with me since birth. Now, most of your non-human spirit guides have been with you since birth. Most of them stay with you your entire life. They're not a revolving door. They stay, they teach you, they guide you. Learning who these beings are is important because they're the ones that you talk to when you're struggling with something. They're the ones that you ask for help with. So, figuring out who your spirit guides are is very, very helpful because they're the ones that are going to help you get through the hard times. They're going to help you get through the sicknesses and the other issues that are going on in your life, but you have to ask them for help. But what do these things do for you? What do these spirit guides actually do? They do not run your life. They do not choose your path. They do not do anything for you. They guide you. They give you clarity. They give you protection. They're going to nudge you in the right direction. You have to make a choice. Do you want to go the direction they're nudging you in? Or do you want to go a completely different direction? You decide. But they're going to be there to try to nudge you on the path that you're down here to learn. So your guides do not make your choices for you. You make your choices. Whether you listen to them or not, that's your choice. You have that choice. But I'm going to tell you, as somebody that has argued with my spirit guides for years and I never win, when you listen to them and you take their advice, you do a bit better in life because they are really trying to do the best for you. But they can't tell you what to do. You can ask for guidance, but they can't tell you you must do this unless you have a very specific job on this planet and in this life. They can't make that choice for you, what you should do. But if you do have a specific, they're going to tell you this is what you're supposed to do, but you still have to do it. And if you're not willing to do it, doesn't matter how much they tell you that. So let's say you're trying to listen to your spirit guides. You want to talk to them. So with your spirit guides, you want to be able to have a conversation with them. I know getting symbols and feathers and all those things are cool. I get it. I've gotten them. I get feathers constantly right now. But I used to get marbles. I see the same numbers as everyone else. I see the sequence of numbers on license plates and gas. And you look at the clock and it's 3, 3, 3, 3. It's crazy. But I'd rather talk to them and have a conversation. So how do you do that? You have to have a telepathic conversation with them in your head. Now, the easiest way to do this is in a meditation because you're closing out all distractions. But the first thing you need to do is you got to protect yourself. You need to bring down white light, surround yourself with a white light bubble. What this does is it blocks out negative things. Because when you start putting out a call saying, I want to talk to my spirit guides, and you're not energetically protected, you're going to attract things you do not want to attract. So you need to protect yourself with the white light. Just imagine it coming down into your body and expanding through your aura. This puts you in a bubble. Once you do that, you can meditate. That's a good way to start talking to your spirit guides. You get into a meditation, go to a place, let's say the beach, and ask one of your guides to come forward. You may see them, you may not. You may get a blob, like you see light, but you don't see an image. That's just because you haven't quite adjusted the frequency of your energy. You may hear them in your head, but you can't see them. You may see them, but you can't hear them. You may just know that they are there. Whatever it is, you want to get to a point where you can have a conversation. That takes time. That means you got to clear up your energy. You got to clear out your chakras. You got to clear out anything stuck to your aura. You got to get rid of any spirit attachments because all this stuff weighs you down and it creates noise so that you can't hear your guides very well. You got to remember, your spirit guides vibrate at a higher frequency than you do. So if you want to connect with them and you want to talk to them, you got to raise your energetic vibration to match their frequency. Think of it this way. Let's say that you're on an elevator and you're on the ground floor of number 1, but your guides are on level 10. You got to be able to get up to level 10. You can talk to them, but it's going to be really hard hearing them because you're on 2 different frequencies. They're on 10, you're on 1. So you can yell, but they're not really going to hear you and you're not really going to hear them. Let me rephrase that. They always hear you. It's you that can't hear them. So if you want to connect to your spirit guides, you got to get on the elevator and start going up. Now, when you get to like floor number 8 or 9, now it gets a lot easier to hear your spirit guides because you've raised your vibration. You've gone up to their level. Does that make sense? So how are these guys going to talk to you? 1, signs. We already talked about that. 2, synchronicities. Repeating patterns in your life. When you see repeating patterns over and over, whether it's with people, whether it's with money, whether it's with jobs, it's because there's a lesson in there you're not learning. Once you learn the lesson, you'll stop seeing those repeating patterns. So if you keep picking the wrong person, getting the wrong jobs, getting the wrong whatever, and it's over and over and over, that's because you are not learning your lesson. Learn your lesson, and that will stop. Dreams. Your guides will talk to you through dreams. Some people are phenomenal at dreaming. Some people are not. If you are somebody that can talk to people and have lucid dreams, go for it. That's a good place to start talking to your spirit guides if you can do that. But they may talk to you through your dreams. So pay attention. Not every dream is a message. Some dreams are just chaos. Some dreams are obvious. How do you tell the difference? When it means something, it's vivid and you remember it in detail, no matter how much time has gone by. You also have intuition. You just know, your gut feeling. I just know this is what's being said. This is what I need to do. This is what they're trying to tell me. That inner knowing matters. You're also going to hear maybe songs. Have you ever had a song stuck in your head? I'm sure you have. Look up the lyrics because sometimes those songs mean something. You may hear a song play that has a certain meaning to it that matters to you. And then the next song has the same meaning and the next song has the same meaning. That's how they can talk to you. You know those Transformer movies, the Bumblebee, and he uses the radio to talk. If you don't know what I'm talking about, definitely look up Bumblebee from the Transformers. But he uses the radio to talk because his voice is messed up. That's kind of how guides talk to you sometimes, through the radio. Not where they're using it as a ghost box, but it's kind of like they're giving you messages that way. Sometimes those messages come through people. There have been times in my life, I was at the store once, and this guy was standing behind me, and I didn't know he was standing there, which was creepy in itself. And he said something to me. And when he said, I don't remember what he said, but when he said it, I literally froze. And I turned and I looked at this guy, and I'm like, what did you just say? And he looked at me and he's like, I didn't say anything. And then he walked away. But I know what he said, because whatever it was, which I don't remember, this was forever ago, it was exactly what I needed to hear at that moment in time. So it literally stopped me dead. And I'm like, whoa, what? I've had that happen a few times with people where they just say something and you're looking at them like, why did you just say that? So sometimes they use people. What stops you from connecting to your spirit guides and being able to hear them? Well, being on the ground floor, level number 1, and they're on level number 10, you need to raise your vibration. You do that by clearing up your energy, removing trauma, clearing out your chakras, clearing out your aura, removing spirit attachments, changing soul contracts, clearing up karma. These types of things all raise your vibration. So that's definitely number 1. 2, stop doubting everything you get. So let me do a little test with you. I want you to think in your head, just think the word high right now. Just think it. Now, I want you to do it again, but you're going to feel where you thought that word. So when you think the word high, where in your head is it? Give yourself a second to try this. Okay, if you need to pause this, go for it. For me, when I think the word high, it's kind of like at the top part of my head, like at a higher part, right? But if I said, okay, Michael, again, that's my guide. I said, I need you to say hi to me. And then I get quiet and I listen. The word high is going to pop in my head. But for me, it's in the dead center of my head. It's not where I thought it. It's lower and more in the middle. That's where I'm feeling it. That's one way to start determining whether or not your guides are talking to you or it's you. Figure out where your thoughts are coming from and where their answers are coming from. So you start very, very simple. Hi. You'll get a high back. You're going to think, I made it up. And that's exactly it. That's self-doubt. That's going to take some time for you to work past that. Because everybody has self-doubt. So just practice where you say hi and to say, okay, I want my spirit guides to say hi. And make sure you say my spirit guides, okay? Be clear. Don't just say anybody. You're going to attract ghosts and all kinds of stuff. So you say, I want my spirit guides to respond to me. And then you listen in your head. It's like a thought. And it's going to be in your voice. It's not going to be in theirs. It's going to be in yours. That's start. Try to not doubt yourself. Fake it till you make it. Not even kidding. Try not to overthink it. Overanalyzing. Well, I mean, this is where I thought it. So maybe I did think it because I want to hear it. But if I didn't hear it, but maybe it was them, but maybe it was me. Stop. Just stop overthinking. You're muddying the water. Just go with it. What's the worst thing that happens? What is the worst thing that happens if you say hi and you get nothing? Nothing. What if you say hi and you get a thought that's hi and it really is you? What's the worst that happens? You're tricking yourself? Okay. But that's it. Nothing major is going to happen. You have to learn how they communicate with you. So that's how you start connecting with these beings. First off, I'm going to push meditation from beginning to end because everybody thinks meditation is sitting down and clearing your mind of all thought and just relaxing and that's it. And it's not. You use meditation as a tool to connect to the spirit world where you think of a beach, you think of a park, you think of a place, you go there and you connect with the scene and then pull in your guides. that takes time. That's not that simple. For some people, they can do that. Boom, they're automatically there. You may do that and be like, I don't see anything. Do you know how long it took me to see stuff in my meditations? Forever. I practiced constantly until I finally started seeing things. And sometimes that's what you got to do. Why? Because my frequency was off. So meditation is your baseline. That's where you start. Then you got to learn how to just feel. Don't think. Feel your way through the conversation. Feel what you're getting. When you start thinking about everything and am I getting it? Is it right? Am I sitting right? Is this right? Is that right? What am I doing? What if it's wrong? You're not wrong. Just relax. It doesn't matter. This is just meditation. There is no real wrong here. Just stop worrying about it. It's a waste of your time, honestly. And let go. Let go of it's not going to work. It is going to work. I'm expecting this. I don't know what to expect. Let it go. Whatever happens, happens. Whatever doesn't happen, doesn't happen. It's fine. Just keep practicing. Eventually, you're going to get it. So how do you know it's real and not your imagination? Okay, let's say you get past all that, right? You're saying hi, you're getting a hi back. You can tell where your thoughts are, where their answers are in your head, how maybe they're in the back of your head, the sides of your head, whatever. Maybe you're starting to get there and start asking simple questions. Hi, good. They'll say hi, then how are you? They'll say fine or good or whatever. Maybe they'll say, how are you? And you respond. Keep it very simple and very casual while you're learning. Once you get this part down, that's when you want to start looking at, okay, how do I know that this is real and not just me wanting to answer myself? That's when you got to start asking bigger questions. Maybe it's things about people that you don't know the answers to. Now, I'm not saying that you're going to go and you're going to talk to your spirit guide and they're going to give you all of the answers right off the bat to whatever all your questions are. They're not. You need something that's provable. For example, in one of my meditations, I keep hearing from my guides about King Solomon. I didn't even know who that was when I first heard it. I had no idea. I'd never heard of this person. And I'm like, who are you talking about? And they're like, look it up. So I would look it up. King Solomon was a real person. So I was like, okay. So then one day like I said, they keep talking to me about this King Solomon guy. And then they said, well, it's like King Solomon's coin. And I'm like, what? So they're like, again, they said, Google it, which is what they said. And so I did. And sure enough, there was some coin that had to do with this King Solomon that he gave to his son. And I don't know. You think after them telling me about this guy, I would do research on this guy. But for some reason, I really don't want to. So I just been pushing it off. But it was real. It was a real thing that I didn't know about. So that's how you're going to start to prove to yourself that it's real, is you're going to get information that you didn't know. So what do you ask them? All right, you got their attention. You're starting to talk to them. You can ask them about anything. Here's what you need to remember. You can talk to your spirit guides all day long. I do. I talk to my guides all the time. Sometimes in my head, sometimes I'm out loud. I don't care. And I tell them everything. These guys are like my friends. They're everything to me. I've learned who they are. I've learned their personalities. I've learned who helps with what, how they're helpful, what each one of them does, because they all do different things. I've asked them about relationships, decisions I have to make, life purposes. What am I missing that I'm not doing? I've asked, what do I have to heal? What do I have to release? What should I be doing? But it's not, the other thing I want to throw in here is it's not all about you. They have personalities and likes and interests too. Get to know them. What is their real name? Like Archangel Michael? Michael's not his name. And I asked him, I said, well, what is your name? And he said, it sounds something like Mikiel. And I was like, oh, what do you like? What do you eat? Do you eat? Were you born? Do you grow? Where's your home? Do you age? Do you not age? Do you die? Who made you? How'd you get there? How do I get there? Can I visit your home? and just start going on about who are they? What are they like? What do they like about, what's their favorite color? What's their favorite anything? Spirit beings don't need to eat, but that doesn't mean they don't like food. So whenever I ask my guides for help, I give them food. I give them a buffet. Sometimes it's fruit, sometimes it's junk food, sometimes it's pizza, sometimes it's subs, sometimes it's donuts. They really like the junk food. But I give that to them as a thank you for helping. And how do I do that? I do it in a meditation. I create a buffet. Whether they eat it or not, I don't know. But I give it to them anyway because I want to show my gratitude. So if you want to start connecting to your spirit guides, first thing you should do is first off, meditate. But you need to just start talking to them. Just talk out loud. Talk to them. Tell them about your day. Tell them what's going on. Tell them that you would like for them to help clear up your hearing, clear up your vision so that you can hear them better, so you can see them better. Remember, you're a frequency. It's like tuning in to a radio station. You need to get the radio dial just right to get the sound, right? Well, it's the same thing with them. They vibrate at a much higher frequency, so you got to raise your energy to their level. So ask them to help you. Help me raise my energy to their level. And I want to give you a quick thing here about what keeps your energy at a low vibration. Selfish, being mean to other people, thinking the world is all there is and there's nothing else out there, being extremely materialistic, being mean to other people, being mean to animals, not healing your trauma, not letting go of past grudges with people, past life issues, karma, things like that, soul contracts, trying to get people to see your point of view. No one needs to see your point of view. No one needs to see my point of view. You know why? Because you are a soul that's different than me, and I am a soul that's different than you. I have a path that I need to follow that fits for me, and your path doesn't necessarily fit my path. I can't force you on my path. My path is great. Well, to a point, spiritually it's fine, but it's not a path that's for everybody. And your path, maybe your path is meant for you, but it's not meant for people around you. You can't force people on your path. You can't force people to do anything. This is super important because that kind of thinking is an all or nothing thought. We all have to be on the same page or we can't be in the same book at all. I have a different soul path than most people. You have a different soul path than most people. You have to live your soul path your way, but I can't live it your way. I'm doing something different. So you're doing something different than the people around you, and so are they, and so's everyone else on the planet. So let it go. You'll live a much calmer life. I'll tell you that. But start raising your vibrations. Start meditating. Start connecting, because your spirit guides, they're there. They're listening to you. They're listening to everything you have to say. So talk to them. Share your day. Ask for help. You have to ask them for help. They're not just going to do it. You have to ask for help. The only time they'll get involved is if something major is going to happen, like you're going to die, and they shove you out of the way. That has happened a lot with people. That's your guides keeping you safe. That happens. But for the most part, you need to ask them for help. So this is basically what spirit guides are, how they work, how to connect with them. And you have spirit guides. You just need to learn how to talk to them, and that's all that it is. So take your time, work with that, and do it. And again, if you want to learn more about what I do, I have a school. The school that I am building teaches you how to do this stuff. Just go to MediSoulWellness.com. Now, I want to say thank you very much for spending this time with me. And I'm really glad that we got to talk about spirit guides. It's one of my favorite topics. Please check out MediSoulWellness.com, and I will see you in the next one.